Everyone, it's been a while since we did one of our videos, and I thought, you know what, it's still holiday season, and that means that the peak of Caribbean cruise season is upon us, and I thought it'd be a good time to continue our series, our Cruise 101 series, where we're trying to help especially the new first-time cruisers understand and be better prepared for their first cruise experience. If you tune into our blog, which the link will be on the screen, you can see that we are now in part 5. We've covered the cruise lines, we've covered the type of stateroom you should consider, we've covered the destinations, and now we're going to get to the one I think most people are probably more anxious about and ready to watch or hear more about, which is the real cost of cruising. If there's one thing that cruise lines do very well, it's attract first-time cruisers with what looks like a very low introductory rate to cruising. In some ways, I think personally that it's a little misleading for what they do, but nevertheless, it's not illegal, and it's something that almost every cruise line does to get you to click to their website, and hopefully, once you're excited about what you're seeing on their website, you're going to eventually book. So it's my job and our job here at H&K to help every client of ours, especially our first-time cruisers, understand the real cost of a cruise. If you were to go to a website right now for a cruise line or see any kind of cruise ad, it'll say something to the effect of cruises starting at, and then they're going to give you a price. Some cases, it will look as low as $299 to $399 a person. And people think, wow, we can go on a cruise vacation to the Caribbean for as low as $299 to $399 a person, which beats about any type of vacation you can possibly go on, even here stateside in the U.S. Well, I'm here to tell you that is not the real cost of a cruise. So let's address the real cost of cruising. What are you seeing when you see a price that says $299 per person or $399 per person that says starting at? You are seeing the cheapest stateroom possible on a cruise ship, which is most likely the most lowest interior stateroom there is, and they're using their base fare to attract you to try to get you to click through and book the cruise. Base fare is not the cost of the stateroom in total. Base fare is simply that, base fare. Now, what cruise lines have done to make their base fare look so cheap is they've taken a lot of money out of base fare and moved it into what we call NCFs, which is basically port fees and other fees that the cruise lines pay that are not considered taxes. They can illegally do that. So if they take what used to be maybe a $1,000 base fare, take half of that and move it into what we call NCFs, that makes the base fare look very low. But if you notice, anytime you see a cruise line advertising their fares, it'll say base fare plus tax and port fees. Again, those port fees can almost be half of or double the base fare. So if it's, instead of being $299, now it's, or $300, let's round up, now the cost is $600 before taxes. So all of a sudden you add in taxes, and the cost for that lowest, cheapest stateroom on the ship is now over $700 per person. So you can see that the $299 was potentially just a tad bit misleading, but again, it's not illegal for them to do that. You just have to read the fine print. So I want to make sure you understand there's base fare, there's taxes to be added on, and then there's what they call, again, the NCFs, or all the port fees and fees they pay in and above, or what they're charging above the taxes for your cruise. Other things to consider: gratuities. Every cruise line now, almost every cruise line now, will add gratuities onto your stateroom account at the end of the cruise. You can opt to add those gratuities on at the front end, or you can have them automatically added at the end of the cruise. Those gratuities are covering your stateroom attendant as well as your waiter and head waiter in the dining rooms that you may be attending. Those three people are usually considered in the gratuity cost. It used to be that you could gratuities were at your discretion. You could add whatever gratuities at the end that you wanted to, but as time gone on, what we've all learned is that the employees on cruises do not make very much in hourly wage. Most of their income comes from gratuities. So instead of people misunderstanding and not leaving gratuities for these employees that are working around the clock for you, cruise lines have now made it to where the gratuities are almost, in essence, mandatory. Those can range anywhere between $12 and $13 to $14 per person per number of nights that you cruise. So keep that in mind. So now we have base fare, NCFs, report fees, taxes, and now gratuities. So again, take $14 times however many number of nights that you're sailing per person, per number of people in your stateroom, and that's going to be your gratuities. On top of gratuities, another thing to consider is how are you getting to the pier? Are you driving? Are you flying? If you're flying, naturally the cost of airfare is not factored into your cruise cost by the cruise line. So that's going to be an extra cost. And then if you're flying, we always recommend all of our clients to make sure you're spending one pre-cruise night in the port that you're sailing out of so you don't miss the cruise in case there's some kind of delay or cancellation with your airline. So now we have a hotel, one-night hotel cost to be added in. And again, depending on where you're cruising out of, that can vary anywhere between maybe $150 to $250 for a night. Once you're at your hotel, how are you getting from airport to hotel, hotel to pier? So now we have transportation costs. Some shuttles and some hotels are included, or they might, if depending on how close they are to the pier, or you might have to add another $20 to $30 a person to get yourself to the pier. And we're not even on the cruise yet, are we? So we've talked about all the things now adding up to the cruise, and we've yet to step foot on the ship. So what are some of the costs to consider once you're on the ship? Naturally, you have your food and beverage costs. Yes, cruise lines include most of your dining in the main dining room and your buffet and some of the bars and grills or the grill areas around the pools and etc. But now cruise lines have added a lot of specialty restaurants which have anywhere between $20 to $40 to $50 per person for a meal in those venues. Now you've got beverage costs. All of your alcohol is going to be extra. The only beverages technically included in most cruises are iced tea, black coffee, milk, and some form of juice for breakfast. That doesn't include now fresh squeezed orange juice, but just some form of either lemonade, grapefruit juice, or some what I call tang for your breakfast. Those are your, and naturally tap water is included. Bottles of water, specialty coffees, shakes, smoothies, any type of alcohol, wine, spirits, beer, all extra costs that have to be figured into the overall cost of your cruise. Now cruise lines have come out with beverage packages to make it very easy for you so you don't have to worry about how much you're going to be spending per drink on board, but those are things that will help you figure out. So that has to be added though in your estimate for how much you're going to be ending up spending on your vacation, your cruise vacation. And then another thing to consider is naturally excursions. If you're in a port-heavy itinerary where maybe on a 7-night cruise you're stopping at least 5 different ports, then you're going to have excursion opportunities in all of those ports. And those again can range anywhere between $30 to $40 on the low end, up to $100 to $150 to $200 a person, depending on how elaborate your tour or excursion is. If you're one who just wants to get off the ship and walk into port and do a little shopping, then naturally you're going to spend less money than those that want to have an excursion every port. But even your shopping and souvenir buying needs to be factored in to the cost of the cruise. So I think you see right away, you have base fare, which is what the cruise line is using to attract you to their website or to attract you to call. And then they're adding onto that base fare port fees, taxes, gratuities, extra dining costs, your beverages, and excursions. And then on top of that, we have how you're getting to the pier again, the airlines, the pre-cruise hotel. If you're driving, you're going to be parking at the pier. There's so much cost per night, naturally, to leave your car at the pier. Those are the real costs of cruising. Our goal as agents, our goal at H&K Luxury Travel is to make sure every client of ours is thoroughly prepared to cruise and they understand the real cost of cruising. We do not like our clients to go on a dream vacation and come back with a nightmare of a stateroom bill that they're now trying to figure out how to pay off. That's not our goal. That's not what we want for our clientele. So hopefully this helps. You'll have a better understanding. I can't give you an actual cost of a cruise because naturally those vary from itinerary to itinerary, cruise line to cruise line, stateroom category to stateroom category. But again, if you think about all the things I've just said are going to be added to the cost of your cruise, I think you can see that you're going to need the help of a consultant like us or another travel professional that you trust to reach out to help guide you through the cruise booking process, so you are fully aware of the cost of the cruise, happy with the cost of the cruise, and then excited about your first time on a cruise ship and your very first cruise. Cruising is a great vacation if you take all those things into account ahead of time so there's no surprises. I hope we've helped you. I went through that quickly just so I don't lose you on this video, but naturally if you have questions, hit the like button on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button on our blog, and make sure you're going to get updates as we get further into maybe another Cruising 101 video, but also we do a lot of reviews. There's recent reviews of a cruise ship, Royal Caribbean cruise ship, on our blog, and we also have other cruises coming up in the future that we'll make sure we get our opinions out to you on how things went with those cruise ships as well as those cruise lines. So make sure you subscribe, like, comment, leave us your comments, contact us, and we'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. Thanks again for watching. Hope this was edifying, and have a great day.